if life was getting harder every day, prices going up, money feeling tighter, and everything feels heavier and more difficult, and then you find out that the people in power are increasing their already huge salary while neglecting the ordinary citizen, what would you do in that situation? In August of 2025, Indonesia answered that question. This wasn't just a protest. This was frustration. This was resistance.
At the end of August, huge protests took place not only in Jakarta, but also in Bandung, Medan, Yogyakarta, and many other cities. The main trigger was the plan by Parliament to increase legislative wages, along with several other controversial policies while the everyday Indonesians struggled with their living costs.
Banyak dukanya sih, mungkin kalau memang orderan lagi sepi, kita nggak bisa bawa uang ke rumah.
The first wave of protests began on the 25th of August, which focused on the bonuses received by DPR members. And that's not all. The public demanded the cancellation of the 50 million rupiah housing allowance for each DPR member. They had many other demands that were centralized, but several of the most common ones were the dissolution of the DPR, the arrest of Faalih for denying involvement in the 1998 mass rape tragedy, the dissolution of the red-white cabinet, and the resignation of Prabowo and Gibran. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about trust.
But instead of listening to the people, DPR member Ahmad Shahroni responded to these protesters by calling them the most stupid people in the world.
Catat nih, orang yang cuman mental bilang bubarin DPR, itulah orang tolol sebenarnya.
Imagine risking your safety to speak up, just to be called stupid by the people in power.
And realistically, people don't protest for no reasons at all. They protest because of bad policies. But what exactly is a policy?
A policy is a set of decisions and actions made by leaders to achieve specific goals. Policy directly affects people's money, safety, and their future. There are four main types of policy. The first one is distributive policy. This gives benefits like goods and services to specific groups using public money. A positive example would be building a highway in one region using taxpayer money. But in this case, the government is distributing benefits to DPR members such as salaries, bonus, and housing allowance. And what's the problem? The public paid for it and they receive no direct benefit. The second one is redistributive policy. This one shifts wealth from the rich to the poor, and it's always the most controversial. For example, the RUU perampasan aset. People demanded this in the protests, which would take corrupt wealth and return it to society. But this policy was delayed again and again. Third is the regulatory policy. This is simple, and it is applied to limit people's actions for public safety. Example, food safety laws for the restaurants. The fourth is foreign policy. This controls a country's relationships with other countries, like trade, diplomacy, defense, and everything abroad starts with foreign policy.
Because of failed policies such as RUU Perampasan Aset, Omnibus Law, and the anti-corruption law, this is where social movement appears. One example is the BEM-SE, where they are the spine of the movement. But what is social movement?
A social movement is an organized group that tries to create or prevent change in society, or when formal political channels fail them. In the August of 2025, there was a demonstration. Students were not just protesting money, they were also protesting on corruption, the arrogance of power, and the lack of accountability. This was the reformist movement. But what is a reformist movement? A reformist movement aims to change or improve specific parts of a system, such as laws, policies, or institutions. Another example of a reformist movement is the environmental movement and the Paris Agreement. But history teaches us something. When reforms keep failing, revolution becomes possible. A revolutionary movement is a type of movement that aims for a total system change to overthrow the existing social, political, or economic system and may use violence. For example, the French Revolution, which replaced the monarchy with republican values.
But why do social movements even exist?
Because of bad governance.
But what is a governance?
Governance is how power is used, decisions are made, and how the people participate in managing society. There are 5 types of governance. The first one is corporate governance. This is how corporate or private companies manage their own companies and their own people. The second one would be public governance. Public governance is how they manage us, the public, and also other institutions, as well as how they make up rules for the public. The third one would be global governance. Global governance is the cooperation between international organizations and countries' governance. The fourth one would be environmental governance. Environmental governance is responsible for managing the country's resources, and then there are 2 main functions of governance. The first one is to set the national interests and goals, and the second one would be designing rules and systems so that institutions work properly. Unfortunately, in August 2025, when we apply the fact to the case, we can see that the governance failed.
Rakyat Indonesia, kencangkan sabuk pengaman karena masa depan mulai tidak aman.
At its core, politics exists to manage conflict peacefully. However, in this case, politics failed, negotiations collapsed, and trust disappeared. Politics, what was once supposed to be about power, decision-making, and conflict management in society, turned into a whole mess. So now, the streets has become the political institution for the citizens.
Now, there are 5 types of politics. The first are domestic politics, internal government affairs, such as elections or laws. The second are foreign politics, which are relations with other countries. The third are economic politics, managing national finance and resources. The fourth are social politics, public welfare and quality of life. The fifth are defense and security politics, protecting the nation from threats. But despite the main goal of politics being to manage conflict peacefully, to the protesters, domestic politics broke down. Foreign politics watched silently. Economic politics protected elites, and social politics failed the people.
So, what can we learn from the August 2025 protests?
Politics is not just what happens in parliament.
It's what happens when people lose faith in the system.
Power leads to politics.
Politics shapes governance.
Failed governance ignites social movement.
And social movement forces new policies.
Power, the ability to influence. Politics, the struggle over that power. Governance, the system that manage politics. Social movement, groups that challenge that governance. Policy, the final decision that affect society. And that's how power, politics, governance, social movement, and policy all connect in playing a role in the world.